Social linguistic, gender exclusive speech. Definition: gender exclusive speech refers to the language from that are used exclusive or predominantly by either man or woman. This difference may appear in vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, or expression and are shaped by culture, norms, and social expectation. In social linguistics, gender exclusive speech show how language reflect gender identity and the roles assigned to men and women in society. Characteristic and important concept. Characteristic of gender exclusive speech include: first is men and women use different words or expression in certain situations, and two, language different are influenced by the culture and social norms. Three, woman's speech is often associated with politeness, indirectness, and emotional expression. And four is men's speech is often associated with the different directness, confidence, and authority. And the last is gender exclusive speech reflect social identity and reinforce gender's roles with a communication. Academic book territory. According to Janet Holmes in 2030, in an introduction to sociolinguistic difference between men's and women's language are primarily influenced by social and cultural expectation rather than biological factors. Women generally use more politeness, firm hedges, and supportive expression to maintain social relations, while a man then use more direct and assertive language to express authority. Holmes emphasized that language is classically related to the social roles assigned to each gender. Example, in this table have a difference about the man and the woman. The first is media about Dove Real Beauty Champagne is the advertisement uses expressions such as a real of beauty. Every woman is a beautiful and confident the to encourage the woman to appreciate themselves. And why is the related? The advertisement specially address women and use language that emphasize femininity, beauty, and emotional support. Therefore, it represents gender exclusive speech because the language is designed for a female audience. And science directs its analysis about the base and Holmes theory. The advertisements uses supportive and polite language that reflect social expectations about the femininity. The language encouraged the woman to express the confidence while still emphasizing feminine identity. And select direct is a +1, and the others is half about the men. In the media is Gillette, the best man can be. The advertisement includes expressions such as be the best man you can be and encourage men to become responsible, courageous, and respectful. And why is the related? The advertisement specially targets men and uses for language associated with masculinity, leadership, and responsibility. This is an example of the gender exclusive speech because the message is intended for the male identity. Analysis: according to Holmes, men's language is often linked the authority and confidence. The affirmations reinforce the masculine social roles by encouraging men to become leaders and protect others. And this slide is supporting about the journal. It's journal 1, 2, and 3. The first journal it's about the Rahmawati the Resma, and the second is the Dian M in 2070 is gender feature in the woman and men's skincare, and comparison of two example. One is about the Dove advertisement. Its target is a woman. Use gentle, supportive. and language focus about beauty and confidence, and represents is feminine and identity. And the second is for the man is Gillette advertisement. Its target is for men, use a firm, motivational, and language, and focus on strategy and responsibility, and respond is masculine and identity. Both advertisements is use a different language choice based on the gender. And the Dove champagnes is emphasized its femininity, whereas the Gillette cut champagne highlight its masculinity, demonstrating how language reflects to the difference of social experiment. In the conclusion, gender exclusive speech is a form of language associated with a particular gender and influenced by social and cultural expectation homes. Territory explains and the difference in the man and woman's language arise from the social roles they occupy. The Dove and Gillette advertisements is clearly illustrates how language is adapted to female and male audience, supported by research from Rahmawati et al. In 2019 and Dina in 2017. This example show that gender exclusive speech continues to play an important role in media and communication. And this is my reference about this topic. And topic is 2, I choose about the style and context and register. In definition, style, context, and register are important concepts in the social linguistic that explain how language changes depending on the situation, the relationship between speaker and the purpose of the communications. Style refers to the way a speaker adjusts language according to the audience or situation. Context is the social and situational background in which communication takes place. Register is the variety of the language uses is in a particular settings, professions, or activity. These concepts show that people do not always speak in the same way. Instead, they adapt their language to the different circumstances. And characteristic and important concept is the main characteristic of style, context, and register are: first is language change depending on the situation. Speaker adjusts their language according to the listener. And 2 is formal situations is require more formal language while informal situation allow casual expressions. And 3 is register include the specialist vocabulary used in the curtain, professional or fields such as a medicine, law, education, or business. And the last is context influence word choice, tone, pronunciation, and sentence structure. Academic theory of the book is according to Ronald Wardow and Janet Fuller in 2015. In a introduction is to say social linguistic language is a variation influenced by the social context. They explain our speaker naturally change their style depending on the whom they are talking to and where the conversation takes place. This phenomenon is called by style shifting. They also explained that register refers to the language associated with the particular occupations, activities, or social settings. Therefore, styles, context, and register are closely connected by this because the speaker constantly adapt their language to suit different communication to the situation. Example in the news is media is BBC News. Example sentence is the government announced new economic policies to address inflation. Why is related? The sentence uses a formal style because it is intended to provide objective information to the public. The vocabulary is precise, professional, and does not to contain slang or emotional expression. In the analysis, according to Warda, is formal concept required? Is formal language? New reports use a formal register to maintain credibility, clarity, and professionalism. Example is social media. Media is a Instagram post by online clothing store. Example is, hi bestie, do not miss our 77 sale. Grab your favorite outfit before it's sold out. Why is it related? The caption used on formal style and casual register attract to young customer. Words such as a bestie, grab, and emojis create a friendly and relaxed set atmosphere that matches social media communication. In analysis and Wardo territory, the language style changes because the context is informal. The speaker choose vocabulary that's suitable for Instagram users, showing that register depends on the communication setting. Cooperative of two example. One Instagram advertisement in formal style uses slang and emojis, friendly and persuasive, targets young customer. And the second is BBC News is formal style, uses standard English, objective and informative, target the general public. The two examples demonstrate how language changes according to the context. Social media encourages informal communication while news reporting require a formal register. The conclusion, style, context, register are essential concepts in social linguistics because they explain how people adopt their language in different situations. Word of territory show that language variation is influenced by social context rather than fixed grammatical rules. The Instagram advertisement and BBC News article clearly illustrated how different communication settings require a different language style and register. The supporting studies also confirm that the language uses the depends of the audience purpose and context. Part 2, this is about the case. We have a 7 of the case in this slide. The first, we have a gender exclusive case. Case the study is technology company is recruiting the new employees during an online meeting. The manager repeatedly says every employee must submit his report before the Friday. A good programmer should improve his coding skill regularly. Several female employees feel that the language used the excludes woman and reinforce the male-centered assumptions in the workplace. Question number 1. What is a gender-exclusive speech? Is gender-exclusive speech refers to the language unexpectedly or impactfully represents only one of the gender while excluding or overlooking others. In the case, the manager repeatedly uses the masculine pronoun his to refer to all employees regardless of gender. Although this use was traditionally accepted as generic pronoun contemporary socialist linguistic research argues that it may marginalize female employees and reinforce the assumptions that men are the default the members of the workplace. Gender exclusive speech reflects how language can reproduce an equal gender represents and influence people perceptions of social roles. In the question 2, why the manager language be considered gender exclusive? Why can manager language be considered gender exclusive? The manager language is considered gender exclusive because the masculine pronoun his is used that represents every employee. This implies that the default employee or programmer is a male. Even though the company employs both men and women, such language unintentionally excludes female employees from the full linguistic representation. From a linguistic perspective, language both reflect and shape social attitude. The repeat uses of masculine pronouns reinforce the traditional gender norms in which professional and technical roles are associated with men. Consequently, female employees may feel invisible or undervalue in the workplace. And question number three is, what is sociolinguistic effect might result from such language? The use of gender exclusive language may have both social and linguistic consequences. Socially, female employees may experience feeling of exclusion, lower belonging, and reduced motivation because the language suggests that men are primary members of the organization. This can negatively affect workplace inequality and inclusion. Linguistic repeat the exposure to masculine generic pronouns reinforce that belief that professionals are naturally associated with men. Such language also repeats the gender base by normalizing male-centered expressions and professional communication. Now, question 4. What alternative language for could be used? The manager can replace gender exclusive expression with the gender exclusive language. Instead of saying every employee must submit his report before the Friday, he could say every employees must be submit the report before the Friday, or all employees must submit their reports before Friday. Likewise, a good programmer should improve their coding skill regularly. Using singular, they, or plural construction makes the message inclusive without changing meanings. Inclusive language acknowledges the presence of all genders and promotes equality in the professional communication. And number 5 is analyze the case using one territory from the social linguistic textbook, and 2 journal articles. According to Janet Holmes, 2030, in an introduction to social linguistic language reflects social and values and power relations, Holmes argues that linguistic choice are influenced by the norms and language can either reinforce or challenges gender inequality. In the case, the manager repeats to use of masculine pronouns reflects traditional assumptions that men represents the devolved workforce, such as language reinforce equal gender representation rather than promoting inclusivity. This argument is supposed by Schizensi, Farmanowicz, and Moser is 2016 is who is explained the gender is exclusive language reduce the visibility of women and strangers genders stereotypes and professional settings. Their research demonstrates that gender fair language improve the perception in of inclusion and equal participation. Similarly, Fairfaxen and Hanover in 2015 found the gender inclusive the language positively influence how individual perceive occupation and career opportunities. Their studies show that inclusive linguistic form that encourage both of women and men to view the profession and as equally accessible, thereby and reducing gender bias. Three form based on Holmes linguistic theory, and this empirical adopt gender inclusive language because the linguistic choice influence social inclusion work. Part 2 is density. In the case, the two lectures explain the same topic. The student lecture A say language is a system of communication. Lecture B say language is function as a dynamic symbolic system facilitating the transmissions and negotiations of the meaning across diverse social cultural texts. Many student reports that lecture B as explanation is more difficult to understand because its contents is a higher concentration and information. What is linguistic density? Linguistic density is the most of important content in the sentence or text. Dense language includes many idea, technical terms, and complex structures in few words, making it the common in academic and professional communication. In this case, lecture B uses higher linguistic and density by including terms like dynamic symbol system, transmission, and social cultural context, making the explanation more difficult for the student to understand. And the question number two, how does density affect communication and cooperations? High linguistic density makes communication more difficult because readers or listener need greater for effort to understand many ideas and technical terms. However, appropriate density help communicate informating effectively. 3-4 language should be adjusted to the audience knowledge and proficiency in this text. And question three is, which lecture uses higher linguistic density? Lecture B uses higher linguistic density than lecture A. Lecture A explains the concept using a short and simple sentence that is easy for most students understand. In contrast, lecture B combines several abstract concepts and specializes academic terms into one sentence. This increase to the informal content while also make explanation more complex. Although lecture B as explanation is academical accurate, it's less accessible for the students who are still developing their understanding of social linguistics. And then question number four is, what are the advantages then disadvantages of dense language? Dense language are for several advantages. It's also speaker and readers to communication complex ideas efficiently and precisely. For this reason, dense language is widely uses the academic ratings, scientific research, and professional document where are accuracy and essential. However, dense language also has disadvantage if the audience lacks service sufficient background knowledge. They may struggle to understand the message. Exclusive linguistic density and can reduce comparisons, create the misunderstanding, and discourage learners from engaging with the material. 3-4 educator should balance presence with the clarity when the communication with the student. And question number five is, analyze the case using of the territory from the social linguistic. The first, according to Ronald Warder and Janet M. Fleur, is 2050 in an unstructured introduction to linguistic language. It's about the should always be interpreted with the social context. Speaker naturally adjust their language choice according to the audience purpose and communication settings. And for the perspection is support by Halliday in 1988, who argues that academic language often becomes more lexical dense because its compresses are large amount of information into viewer words. Lexical density is a characteristic of formal and academic discourse. And similarly, Fang in 2006 explained that academic text is contain higher lexical density than everyday language is because they are heavily on technical vocabulary and nominalization. While this style improves precision, it may reduce readability for the student who are unfamiliar. And the last is based from the Wardow's territory and finding of holiday and fang. Lecture B demonstrated higher than linguistic density, and lecture A is also the explanation is academical rich. It less effectively because the language is not sufficiently adapted the student's level of understanding. Lecture as explanation is more accessibility and therefore support more effective classroom communication. In the case number 3 is introduction is complexity. Two students write about the climate of change. Student writes, is climate change affect the environment? Student B writes climate change which are primarily driven by the human effective such as a burning fossil fuels and deforestation hike significantly affect the ecosystem, biodiversity, and global weather patterns. The teachers say the student B as sentence has higher linguistic complexity. Question number 1. What is the linguistic complexity? Linguistic complexity refers to the use of the advanced the vocabulary longer than sentence and more complex grammatical structure. In the case above, the student BA's a sentence is more complex because it contains additional information, a relative clause, and more academic vocabulary. And the question number 2, why is a student BS sentence considered more complex? Because student sentence BS combines several ideas into the sentence using the complex grammar and specific vocabulary, unlike students AS simple sentence. It provides more details, information, and explanation, make it in linguistic more complex. And the question number 3, how does linguistic complexity influenced by communication? Linguistic complexity can improve the communication by providing delighted the price information. However, in the language is too complex, readers may find it's difficult to understand, especially if they are unfamiliar with the topic. Question number 4 is when should complex language be used? Complex language is appropriate in academic writing, research articles, and professional communication, while the details explanation are needed in the everyday conversation. Simple language is usually more effective because it's easier to understand. And question 5 is analysis the case using on the territory for the social linguistic textbook and 2 journal articles is according to Wardo and Fuller in 2015. The language varieties is depending on the purpose, audience, and the context in academic setting by the readers often more complex language in the communication priceless idea. And the support the Bible and House in 2012 is who explained the linguistic complexity reflects to the semantics of language through the vocabulary and grammatical structure in the editions Ortega in 2003. It argues the greater linguistic complexity is often associated. Case number 4. Case study, a university student gives to the presentation on the same topics presentation a good morning, a respected lecturer and fellow the students. Today I would like to present the result of my research. Presentation B. Hey everyone, today I'm gonna talk about my research. I hope you guys enjoy it. The lecture comments that both presentation have different language style. And the question number 1, what is a language style? Language style refers to the way people may use the according to the situation, audience, and purpose of the communication difference. The situation require the different style regaining for formal, informal question. And the second, why do the two presentation use the different style? The two presentation use a different style because they are indicative of the different communication context. The presentation A use a formal style suitable and for academic, while presentation B use an informal style suitable of the appropriate for casual conversation. And the question number 3, how does the language style affect the communication? Language style influence the how the message are understood and received, and appropriately style helps speaker communicate effectively, while an inappropriate style may reduce the credibility and or cause misunderstanding. And the question number 4 is which presentation is more appropriately for an academic setting? Why? Presentation is a more appropriate because its use formal vocabulary, polite expression as professional tone. These features match the expectation of the academic communication. And number five is analyze the case using the territory from the social linguistic textbook and two journal articles. I have the first is according to Holmes 2030, and the idea is support the Biolab in 172. Case number five. The topic contest is case study. A teacher says a student, could you close the window? The student answered, yes, I could. However, the student does not close the window. The teacher becomes the confused because the student understood the sentence difference from the teacher intent. Question number one. What is a context social linguistic? Context is reversed to the social and situational circumstances in which communication takes the place is help speaker and listener understand instead the meaning of the entourage beyond in the literal words. Question 2. Why did the misunderstanding occurs? The misunderstanding occurs by the student interpret the student's sentence literally, a question about the ability, while the teacher indeed to as a polite requires, and the student evaluate the consider the communication. And the 3. How does the context influence meaning? Context determines how language is interpreted. The same sentence can have the different meaning depending on the speaker. Intonation, the relationship between a speaker and the situation in which is used. And question number 4 is how should the student interrupt the teacher's. The student should to understand could you close the window as a polite requires than the question about ability. Therefore, the appropriate response is a closely the window instead of the simple yes, I could. And question 5 is analyze this case using the territory according to Holmes is 2030. Its language cannot separate for its social context because the meaning depends on the situation. And this is support about the Byhauge in 2030 who explained that successful communication requires speaker and listener the shares contextual understanding in order to interpret the meaning correctly. Next, we have the case number 6, register. Case to study. A doctor explains the patients of the condition to another doctors. The patients the present with the acute myocardial infarction and the requires the immediately interventions. Later than the doctor explained the same condition to the patient's family. The patient is having a serious heart attack and needs the treatment immediately. The two statements have the same meaning but use different language. What is register? Register is a variety of the language we use it according to the situation, purpose, and audience difference. The register are used at the difference of the professions and social settings to the communication effectively. And second is why does the doctor uses the different register? The doctor uses the different register because the audience have a different level of knowledge. Medical terminology is appreciated for fellow doctors, while simpler language helps a patient or family understand the conditions. And question number 3, how does register influence the communication? Is register make the communication more effective by the matching language to the listeners' backgrounds using an appropriate register improves understanding and reduce misunderstanding. Question number 4 is which register is more appropriate for the patient's family? Why? Because the second register is more appropriate because it's use simple and familiar vocabulary. It allows the patients or family to understand the medical conditions without a specialist knowledge. The question number 5 is analyze the case using the territory from the social linguistic textbook and two journal articles. First is, according to Wardo, Influence 2050, is a register to its language variety associated with the a particular activity, professional or social settings. And the second is territory is support by holiday is 170H is who explained that register changes according to the file tenor and modes. And the last is about the Biber and Corner 209 argue that register and influenced by the communication purpose and the relationship between speaker and the listener. And the last is case number 7. Its topic is stereotypes. In the case study, a company recording the new engineer during the interview. One interview says is engineering is usually men's job. Women are generally better at administrative work. Some application believe the statement is unfair because it judges people abilities based on gender rather than a qualification. The question number 1 is, what is stereotype? Stereotype is generalized belief or assumption about a group of people. In linguistic, stereotypes influence how the people use and interpret language in the society. And the second, why is the interview statement considered a stereotypes? The student is considered stereotypes because he assumes that men you naturally better than angels and women are better, more suitable in the administrative judges individual based on the genders instead of their abilities and qualification. And the question, how can stereotype can affect communication? Stereotype can create the prejudice, discrimination, and misunderstanding. They may discourage individuals from the expressing themselves and negatively affect the relationship in the workplace and society. And how could the interview communicate is more appropriately? The interview should avoid the gender-based assumptions and evaluate applicants based on their education, experience, skill, and performance. Using the inclusive language promotes fairness and equal opportunity. And analyze the case using the territory from the social linguistic is textbook and 2 journal articles. The first we have the according to Janet Holmes is language reflects social attitudes, can reinforce or challenge stereotypes. Gender stereotypes often influence how the people speak about the occupation and social roles, even those beliefs inaccurate. And the second is have the support by citizency far more know which and Mosher's is who found that the gender based language of reinforced the stereotypes.